Why don't we start with NATO and work our way back to G7 issues, since NATO is right in front of us, the meeting with Putin. The approach of the former administration, Mr. Trump's, to NATO was very different from this one's. But what they have in common is the desire to see NATO members contribute or punch up to their weight in NATO. Am I right on that?
You're absolutely right, Tyler. And this actually goes back, a number of administrations. In fact, I remember having these discussions when I was in the Bush administration, as far back as 20 years ago, this question of, the shared responsibility of NATO countries to, live up to their defense obligations of 2% of GDP. And so Biden administration, Trump administration, objectives on this are exactly the same. Rhetorically, very different, though. Where the Trump administration, President Trump himself, was very publicly critical of these countries. Less concerned with, I think, some of the objectives that you talked about earlier, the asked Damon about these, what this collective security is intended to protect, which are these democratic and Western ideals that NATO is there to defend. It is a defensive organization, and it will be defending them. Biden administration agrees with that, and I think you'll hear a little bit more rhetoric from them on those topics as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. What are we defending here? We're defending Western ideals, liberal, though not liberal in sort of domestic politics terms, liberal democracies, and the idea of that. Let me just close the loop here before we work our way back a little bit and then look forward to the meeting with Putin. Would you say that let me put it this way. Does President Trump deserve some credit with his tough rhetoric and shaming and naming countries that didn't measure up to that 2%? Have they increased their contribution to defense?
I think I should give some credit to Trump administration for putting that pressure on NATO. Also to Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General, who has been very forceful on this as well. Right. We heard some of this in the last few weeks of some members being pining for the pressure that President Trump put on them. They're still going to get plenty of pressure from this administration as well. I think it's this is an American view. At the same time, I think all these administrations, need to recognize that if you're going to come in with the presumption that you are the leader of NATO, you are the leader of this collective security organization, the bulk of the responsibility is always going to fall on the United States. And I think we want it that way. If we want to be the leaders, we're always going to want the bulk of that responsibility.
Let's work our way back to the G7 and the issue that is probably of most interest to our audience, and that is the proposal of 15% minimum tax on corporate profits. Tell us where that stands. Obviously, the United States, even at today's low corporate tax rate, is above that number. We're at 21% now. President Biden would like to see it go up to 25, 27%. Where are the G7 on that 15% number? Because a lot of them don't even tax those profits. Am I right?
None of them tax those profits. In fact, the United States is the only country that taxes the overseas profits of its companies. And so, American firms are at a disadvantage, just starting right now. Trump administration put a particular kind of minimum tax that tops up. So if you are in a so-called tax haven, and depending on how you calculate your taxes, you're going to get a top-off tax. And it's very clumsy, but it has been effective in in applying additional taxes to American companies, if that's your goal. I think everyone agrees. G7 agrees. 139 members of the OECD have all agreed to be part of a process to try to get a minimum global tax, so you don't have quite the same kind of tax competition. I think the 15%, if it was, Secretary Yellen said she's concerned about a race to the bottom. President Biden has said this. You have to imagine now it's going to be a race to 15%. So the goal is going to be for a lot of companies or countries to get to 15%. We're the only ones who do it now. And I think, we want to see not just real commitments, not promises, but there's nothing stopping any of these countries today from doing exactly what the United States does for their own companies.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.